This video was inspired by the Star of David project by Mark Bennett, with special thanks to Melinda Goldrich. Find out more by visiting his website, link in the description. Most Jews recognize the Star of David as a symbol of Judaism. Some would argue it's the symbol. Today, the Star of David is practically ubiquitous in the Jewish world. It's even an emoji. The most iconic use of the star might be on the Israeli flag. But the Star of David wasn't always a universal symbol for Judaism. What's the history behind how two overlapping triangles came to be the most universally recognizable symbol associated with Judaism? The answer goes back centuries, and it's surprisingly complicated. In ancient times, the Star of David, or the Magen David, wasn't an exclusively Jewish symbol. It was a common geometric symbol, just like the 5-point star and even the swastika. The oldest record of the 6-point star as a Jewish symbol was around the 2nd or 3rd century. Archaeologists found stars of David on the walls of the Synagogue of Capernaum near the Sea of Galilee. But most experts think that these stars and those found elsewhere in the early Common Era were used for decorative purposes and didn't hold any significant Jewish meaning. Nearly a century later, the star appeared on the now famous Leningrad Codex, the oldest known manuscript of the Hebrew Bible dating from 1008 CE. However, it's unclear if it was used merely for decoration or possibly had a deeper religious purpose. Experts like German-Israeli academic and philosopher Gershom Scholem theorize that the star gained more meaning in Judaism in the mysterious teachings of the Kabbalah. The 13th and 14th centuries saw a growing movement of Jewish sages in Spain, Eastern Europe, and the Middle East, writing Kabbalistic texts that explored the foundations of Jewish mysticism. These texts were the first sources to ascribe meaning to the 6-point star. The Book of Boundary, written in Spain in the early 14th century, contains several depictions of the 6-point star, where it's identified as being on the Shield of David, a reference to the legendary protective shield used by King David, which, according to legend, had magical powers and could ward off spirits and demons. Other works of the time make similar references to the king's magical amulet with a 6-point star emblazoned on it. But the earliest known particularly Jewish usage of the Star of David wasn't tied to a Kabbalah scholar. In the mid-14th century, Holy Roman Emperor Charles IV gave Prague's Jews the right to bear a flag. Under the red flag, with the yellow Star of David on it, Prague was the world's first Jewish community to use the star as its official emblem. The Star of David was on flags and books in Prague at the time and in surrounding Jewish communities, but it didn't go viral until the 18th century. It started in Europe, where everywhere Jews looked, they saw the symbol of Christianity, the cross. Seeking to find their own distinctly Jewish symbol, communities turned to the Star of David. This struck a chord with diaspora Jews and spread to synagogues across the world. The star was cemented as the Jewish symbol in 1897 at the First Zionist Congress in Basel, which was chaired by Theodor Herzl. There, the Star of David was chosen over icons like the menorah as the official Zionist symbol for two reasons. Jews everywhere already knew it, thanks to the widespread use of the star during the 19th century, when it became splashed on synagogues, prayer books, tombstones, and the stationery of Jewish charitable organizations all over. The second reason was that it didn't have the religious significance of other symbols. By the mid-20th century, no symbol was more tied to Judaism. Zionist leaders embraced this. It didn't evoke memories of the past, they argued, and could represent a brighter future. To pervert the symbol of the Jewish people, Hitler decreed that all Jews under the Third Reich wear a yellow 6-point star badge of shame. The yellow Star of David is one of the most enduring images of the Holocaust. But the Jews who survived would not let Hitler decide their symbol's legacy, and on the heels of World War II, they reclaimed their star. The State of Israel was established, and the debate began over what emblem would be featured on the young nation's flag. The flag of the Zionist movement already had strong support, but Israeli politicians like Minister of Foreign Affairs Moshe Sharet had reservations. He and others feared that Jewish communities in the diaspora could face dual loyalty charges if the flags of the Zionist movement and the Israeli flag were the same. Therefore, in June of 1948, the Israeli government's designated committee announced a public competition calling for flag designs. Though it wasn't a requirement, entries were encouraged to include the 7 gold stars, a design dreamed up by Herzl and sketched in his diary in the late 19th century. During the 2-week-long competition, 164 people participated, submitting a total of 450 designs. While deciding on the final design, Sharet wanted input from the diaspora, so he reached out to Zionist leaders abroad. The response was clear. They and their constituents overwhelmingly preferred to have the Zionist flag become Israel's national flag. And on October 28, 1948, the Provisional Council voted unanimously to adopt the Zionist flag as that of the State of Israel. The history of the Star of David as a symbol is rich and complex. Many view it today as an enduring symbol of Jewish pride and perseverance throughout the world. Institutions across the globe display and commission art installations that examine the star's history, from JCCs, synagogues, and museums, to other iconic institutions like the Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba, Israel. But the star can also be controversial. Queer Jewish activists were singled out and barred from participating in 2019's DC Dyke March. Organizers claimed that the Jewish pride flag was banned because it had a Star of David placed in the center, superimposed over a rainbow flag, and is almost entirely reminiscent of the Israeli flag, swapping out the blue and white for a rainbow. Which begs the question, is it a symbol for a people or a country? The Jewish people predate the modern state of Israel, and so does the symbol. The legacy of the star lives on almost everywhere in Jewish communities throughout the world. Whether this symbol dates back thousands of years or a few hundred, it's an emblem woven deeply into the fabric of modern Jewish history and serves as a powerful image that binds the Jewish people together today.